My first performance was a little bit of a trial by fire.
Hi, thank you for tuning in to Entertainment Buzz. I'm Rena MacMonegle, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Today we're in the studio with Mason Zgoda. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in the industry?
Sure. So I started playing guitar and writing songs when I was pretty young. I wrote my first song at 15. But I didn't move to Nashville till after I graduated college, and I guess about 3.5 years now, that's how long I've been in the industry, working with other musicians, things like that.
So what really gave you your start in music?
My start, I was totally inspired by Taylor Swift and the Fearless record, which I listened to religiously when I was 12. And that year I asked for guitar lessons for Christmas. I always say that Taylor Swift inspired a whole generation of young girls to pick up guitars and start writing about their feelings, and I was one of them. And then wrote my first real song when I was 15, and it just kind of snowballed from there. I actually never thought that I would do music as a career. I always thought that it was something that was mine. I didn't want to show people. And then my parents were the ones who convinced me to record some songs, and it was just the most fun I'd ever had, and I decided I had to just keep doing it.
So your process as a writer, do you start with lyrics or do you often start with a melody?
If I start with one over the other, it's almost always lyrics. Some of my songs were originally poems that I put melodies to. This EP, Postcard to the World, that I just released came after a whole year's worth of writer's block where I did not write a single song. But every day I was writing lyrics, or even just one word that I thought was interesting and wanted to hold on to. And then about 3 weeks before I went into the studio, I sat down and wrote almost every song that I ended up recording. Once the melodies came and the guitar inspiration came, I had all of these words to draw from, and the songs just kind of fell into place.
So other than Taylor Swift, who are some of your biggest musical inspirations?
I love all the singer-songwriters of the 1960s. Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel, and then also the 1960s girl groups and the guy bands that were inspired by them, like the Beatles and the Beach Boys. And then after I graduated college and moved to Nashville, my friend and my producer introduced me to 90s indie pop. Sixpence and the Richer, the Cranberries, the Sundays. And these songs, I think you can hear the melding of those two genres, like the really organic, traditional singer-songwriter feel of the 60s with the cool guitar tones and drum tracks of the 90s.
So were any of them your first concert that you attended?
No, I was not so lucky to see Joni Mitchell or the Cranberries in concert. My first concert ever was actually Aaron Carter. My mom took me and my best friend at like 5 years old or something to see love of my life, Aaron Carter, sing I Want Candy at like a Six Flags, I think.
So when it came time for your first performance, how did that go?
My first performance was a little bit of a trial by fire. I was 14 or 15, and I literally performed for like 2,000 people, just me and my guitar, at a St. Patrick's Day festival in TGK, North Carolina. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. And so there were so many people there, and there I was singing my little songs about boys. And it was really awesome, an incredible experience. I remember I went on stage, and the sound guy came up to me and he was like, "Do you need anything?" And I realized I didn't have a guitar pick. And I was like, "Oh, I need a pick." And he ran backstage and got one from one of the bands that was back there and gave it to me. And I still have that pick 10 years later. I have not tried to keep up with it, but it's followed me across the country and back again. So I guess it's lucky.
Gotta hold on to that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you stay pretty busy with music, but do you have any other hobbies?
I do. So I actually have a degree in political theory, and I love that. I have a podcast where I talk about political theory. I love reading all the old dead people like Plato and Aristotle. I'm actually getting my PhD starting this fall in political science, and I love literature, all of that, just words and ideas I love, and that really fuels my songwriting too.
So, has it been challenging to release an album during a global pandemic?
It was a challenge. It was an impossibility, really, once the pandemic hit. It almost felt like if I released it, I'd be throwing it away, because like the online conversation was so centered around everything that was happening. I felt like if I released music, it was just going to be white noise. But it was such a shame, because the record is called Postcard to the World, and that's the title track as well. And that whole song sounds like a quarantine anthem. I'm talking about laying on the floor and practicing French and dancing through the hallways of my house and staring in the mirror and making funny faces. It sounds like what you do when you're locked up with nothing to do. And so it stinks that I couldn't release it when it was super relatable, but maybe people can just relate retroactively to it.
Yeah, now it's got nostalgia value.
Yes.
So what are some of the other themes you explore in the album?
Well, that song in particular carries one of the biggest themes of the record, which is loneliness. Even though it sounds like a song about quarantine, it's really about the time where I was living in Nashville and I had no friends. And all I did was work and scribble lyrics on yellow legal pads. And I was so lonely, I almost felt like I was going crazy. And the hook to that song is, I live my life inside this room. I send a postcard to the world, wish you were here and write back soon. And then there's another song on the record called If You Were Me that's about being terrified of romance and preferring to just stay in your head where you're safe. But then there's also songs that are very romantic, like Your Visit to the Louvre is about a girl talking about her love like he's an exhibit that's going around to all these different art museums, and all the other famous works of art look at him just in awe, and they're so jealous because of how beautiful he is. So that tug of war between loneliness and connection is kind of the theme of the record.
That's awesome. Those sound really thoughtful and inspiring.
Yeah, thank you.
So can you please tell our viewers where they can go to find you on social media and where to go to listen to all your awesome music?
Sure. So you guys can find me on any streaming platform where you listen to music. My record's called Postcard to the World, and I'm on all the socials. My name is Mason Zgoda, Zgoda. So please connect with me so that you can see all the other music I'm going to release, and I really hope that you enjoy this record.
I hope you all check that out, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to Entertainment Buzz.